Welcome to the Working Mom Rebellion podcast, where rage, rest, and rise all exist in the same breath. I'm your host, Alexis Starks. I'm a mom of two, a leader, builder, boundary setter, and unapologetically ambitious woman. This is the podcast for working moms who are done shrinking, done apologizing, and done pretending that we don't carry the weight of it all. Here we talk about the messy, powerful truth of building a career with babies, toddlers, and sometimes kids in the next room. This is real talk, real strategy, and real rebellion. Let's burn the old blueprint and build something better together. There's a version of you that you miss. She had more energy, she crushed deadlines, she answered emails quickly, she kept appointments straight, maybe she fit into pants that weren't even stretchy. And maybe lately you've caught yourself thinking, if I could just go back to that version of me, I'd feel better. I'd feel more in control. I'd feel more like myself, my old self. But honestly, she's not coming back. And that's actually a really good thing. This episode of the Working Mom Rebellion is all about grief, growth, and the radical act of becoming the woman that you were always meant to be after motherhood, inside leadership, and through your own rebellion. Okay, let's talk about a story. I remember a morning when I was back from maternity leave. I was still breastfeeding, not really sleeping that much, on and off. Maybe my son was waking up at that point. He started sleeping a little bit longer stretches. And so he would get up at like 3 in the morning and then go back to sleep for a bit. But I remember trying to show up to Zoom meetings with strategy and solutions. I remember trying to respond to Slacks quickly. And I remember that there'd be so many times that I just couldn't think of the word. Like, I remember not being able to think of the word PowerPoint. I remember this because I remember being so frustrated and I felt so dumb. Like, I'd be talking to my team and I'd be just going on like this, talking about something, and I just had a brain fart. And I couldn't think of the word PowerPoint. I remember one time I was trying to talk to my son and show him a squirrel I thought I saw, and I couldn't think of the word squirrel. And so I called it a tree puppy, a tree puppy. And forevermore, they're called tree puppies. But I digress. I remember thinking that I used to be so sharp. I used to be quick. I used to be the one that everybody came to. And I couldn't even recognize myself anymore. I couldn't think of words, simple words. And I was mourning the old me, that version of me who could power through and get everything done. And in that grief, I felt mostly shame. Like, why can't I keep up? Why do I feel so slow and so heavy and so unlike myself, my old self? But that old version of me, the before kids me, she existed in a world where I didn't yet know what it was to hold a baby in one arm on one side and doing work or taking a meeting or multitasking in the other. Literally, I didn't know what it was like to grow a human being in my body and birth a baby. That old version of me couldn't even fathom the strength it took to birth a baby and then survive the sleep exhaustion and breastfeeding and literally growing and raising and nurturing and loving another human being. And I hadn't yet, that old version of me, I hadn't yet been cracked open by motherhood. I hadn't been stretched thin. I hadn't yet even been reshaped by everything I'd survived. And so I realized I don't need to get her back. I don't even want to get my old self back. I need to meet the woman I'm becoming because she is 1,000 times stronger and more capable and more resilient than the old me ever was. All right, time for some truth bombs. Let me give it to you straight. The pressure to get back to yourself after motherhood is a trap, whether it's getting back to yourself mentally, physically, bouncing back to your old self. That's a trap. It implies that who you were before was the best and better version of you. It implies that progress looks like reversing change. And it implies that motherhood was a detour, not a transformation. So you're not behind. You've just outgrown your old self. You have grown and changed and transformed into this amazing, capable person who can literally grow a human or literally take care of and nurture and love and raise and support a baby, a child. that version of you, this version of you is so much stronger than the pre-baby version. Like, I'm sorry to say it. I mean, the strength I have now after having 2 babies is 1,000, at least 1,000, a million times stronger than the pre-baby version of me. And I ran marathons. I did triathlons. I ran up a 7-mile hill in Los Angeles as a race to the top. And and yet, like, I am so much stronger having grown babies, birthed babies, and survived the sleep deprivation and breastfeeding that comes with having kids. So, this new version of yourself is so much stronger. You've outgrown your old self, and that's a really good thing. So, yes, you might grieve your speed and your stamina. Maybe you have to move slower because you're multitasking, raising kids. Maybe you can't get as much done because you're also juggling kids and working at the same time, or you miss your spontaneity. Yeah, you can't just go out clubbing or go out for drinks or even just go out for coffee necessarily. You got to pack up your kids with you if you want to go out to Target now. And it's much harder, more difficult. It's harder to be spontaneous. But that's real. And grief doesn't mean regression. It means you care and it means that you're evolving. You can recognize that the old self, your old self, is different and your new self is going to be and is better. It's evolved. You're not meant to be who you were. You are meant to become someone deeper, stronger, and more aligned. Motherhood reshapes us, it transforms us. So let it. Don't grieve your old self. I want you to celebrate your new self who is capable of so many amazing things. Okay. Not only that, before I dive into some more system callouts, I just want to talk about the old you was operating in a totally different system. Before kids, you had more time, fewer demands, a system that was optimized around you. You could get to work early, you can work late, you can respond to emails in 30 seconds. I mean, I barely even had to go to the doctor because I was healthy, like I didn't have appointments. I didn't have to strategize when I was going to the grocery store to be the most quiet part of the day, which is during the middle of the day, which is like a lunch hour, so that there was nobody there to bother me and my sleeping baby so that she could nap in the stroller while I went through Target. So, the old you was so much easier to get things done. But now you're operating in a system that demands everything without making space for caregiving. It demands those same things without recognizing that you also now have a baby. So, of course, you feel different. And that's not weakness, that's just a recalibration. So, here's the question that shifts everything. What if you stopped trying to bounce back and started building forward? All right, let's get into some system callouts because the system is difficult to work through when it's working against us all the time. The world rewards moms for pretending that they haven't changed. We're applauded for returning to work from maternity leave early or returning to work at all. We're applauded for doing it all and for staying quiet about the identity shift that's shaking us to our core. I mean, nobody's asking you, like, how do you feel about motherhood and your new identity, and how are you coping? How are you managing? No one's asking you that. They applaud you for just staying quiet about it. Pretend you go back to work as the same person that you were before you had a baby, however long that was in your maternity leave. But you don't owe anyone the illusion of sameness. When you become a mom, your worldview shifts, your priorities reorder, and your capacity gets redefined. And the systems that work around us, workplaces, social structures, even friendships, they don't always know how to hold that sameness because you're not the same, you're different. So these things have to change. But instead, we try to hold both who we were before kids and who we're becoming until we realize that you can't build a future on a blueprint that no longer fits. You are no longer the same person. You are no longer the same person before you had kids, and that's okay. So let's reframe this. You don't need to go back. You need to root down, dig into you. This is the new version of you, this wiser, wilder, stronger, deeper, more capable version of you, the one who knows what matters. You're the one who leads with lived experience and who doesn't hustle for approval. She chooses what aligns. Choose what aligns to your energy, to your boundaries, and show up with the strength that you know you have because you have survived motherhood. That is so much more. It's so much more challenging than everything else I've done at work. And I've done some challenging, complicated things, but by far, growing a human being and then birthing a human being and then breastfeeding and surviving the sleep deprivation is by far more of an accomplishment than my entire career. Okay, so I have some journaling prompts for you. I recommend you do these. I love journaling. Sometimes it's hard to find the time to sit down and actually write. So maybe just think about your answers if you don't have time to write. But first one is, what am I grieving from my pre-motherhood life? And what did it give me? Maybe it's you miss the freedom of going out whenever you wanted to go to Target without a stroller and now a diaper bag, and you got to think of a bottle, and you got to think of snacks, and you got to think of change of outfits, or you're grieving your pre-motherhood body or your pre-motherhood sleep or your pre-motherhood lack of stress. What did those things give to you? Was it lower stress, more happiness, more flexibility or freedom? And who am I becoming now? And what does she need? So, who are you becoming now? Are you becoming more strong? Are you becoming more capable? Are you becoming a leader? Are you becoming a facilitator? Who are you becoming now? Even just a mom. That word, mom, resonates with so much strength. You are becoming a mom. You are a mom. And what does she need? What do you need now to be happier or a little less stressed or a little more uh, flexibility or freedom in your day? Maybe it's just a little thing. Maybe it's an extra cup of coffee. Maybe it's an extra kiss in the morning. Maybe it's an extra 5-10 minutes of quiet time. What do you need right now to be who you are becoming? Okay. And I have some mantras for you for this week. Your first mantra is, I'm not lost. I am evolving. The old me was powerful. This version, though, she's unstoppable. And I don't bounce back. I rise forward. Let me just redo that last one again for you. Restate it. I don't bounce back. I rise forward. We live in a culture of trying to bounce back from motherhood to get your pre-baby body or bounce back into your same exact old life and jump back into your work where you left off. But rise forward. Do all of those things better because you are more capable and stronger now as a mom than you were before. You don't need to bounce back. Rise forward with who you are now. So tell yourself you haven't lost yourself. You've just outgrown that version of you who thought she had to do it all before. This is the working mom rebellion. We don't go backwards, we rise on our own terms. That's it for this episode of the Working Mom Rebellion. If it hit home, please share it with another working mom who needs to know that she's not alone. And if you're ready for real support, for power strategy hours, for digital workbooks, and a truth that doesn't sugarcoat it, click the link in the show notes for more. Until next time, rage, rest, and rise. You don't have to do it all, just what matters.